All right, so these are going to be some of my favorite records in my collection, some slightly valuable, interesting to me, and some a bit more valuable. So check it out. So here goes. Again, these are some of my favorite records in my collection. You know, I'm so used to thrifting, and that's how I found a lot of really valuable and great records. But I've chose 9 records here to show you, and I'm just going to go ahead and get started with The Jam. And this is In the City, you know, punk mod, Paul Weller, Bruce Foxton, Rick Buckler. I mean, this is just an amazing record from 1977. I spun the A side. It's just incredible. Really, really nice. This is on a UK press, and I paid all of $15 for this, about 20 years ago or so, and it's worth more than that now. I'd say, I mean, let me know if you think I'm wrong. This one's worth about 50 to 70 in this very nice condition. Here is the back cover. And I keep everything original. I have polyline sleeves that I could switch out sooner, but I'm very careful putting the vinyl in and out. And this is the original UK press sleeve. And this is a first press for this record. And I'll show you right now. For The Jam, In the City, 1977. And from 1997, a test pressing from Bjork's 3rd studio LP, Homogenic. And this is simply on this white label for the test pressing. I'm not going to bust it out of the sleeve. And it simply came in this sleeve. And I did score this at a thrift store. This was $1. I'll never forget when I found this. It was just terrific to find this thrifting. So there we go. Again, her 3rd album from 1997. And next up, from the German band from Dusseldorf, Germany, their 4th studio LP from 1974. This is on Vertigo. This is the VEL-2003. And this is Kraftwerk's Autobahn. And I'd say this is worth about $30 to $40. I've priced these records out between Discogs and eBay. You tell me if you think different. Condition, so far everything I've shown is near mint minus to VG++. And this is just a wonderful record to have. I just spun both sides of this, and really, really a nice listen. And I like keeping the original. I have not busted out a polyline sleeve yet for this record. And most of these records, I did not pay very much for them at all. So they're really treasures in my collection. And here's the label on Kraftwerk. And I'd say this one is worth about $30 to $40 conservative. And next up, a record that I bought at my local indie store around 2001 when I came home from playing in the band. And this is Mask by Bauhaus. And this is their 2nd studio LP. And I'd say this is right around a $50 record, you know, straight up goth rock. This cover drawing is by Daniel Ash, and check that out. So nice. This is actually my only Bauhaus record, and I do love this one. You know, they formed in Northampton in 1978. You had Peter Murphy and David J., who went on to Love and Rockets. Also, Kevin Haskins on drums went to Love and Rockets. But here you had the boys in Bauhaus. I love this band. And I don't know about you, you know, dreary, depressing music, just, it makes me happy. It just does. And here's the inside cover for Mask. And I'll show you on Beggar's Banquet. This is a near mint minus on the wax. And there we go. Wonderful to have this record, really terrific. And from 1977 on Elektra Records, their debut, this is an OG, this is Television, Marquee Moon. You have Tom Verlaine, Richard Lloyd, the guys met in Delaware and then later moved to New York City, where they got together to form Television. And, you know, they abandoned contemporary, you know, punk rock stylings and really put some jazz stylings, interplay, very melodic lines, and a lot of hooks. That's really the great aspect of Television. I have Adventure as well on an original. And here is the back. And let me show you this beautiful butterfly Elektra label. And this is the 7E1098 for Marquee Moon Television. Absolutely great to have this in my collection. And here's the inner sleeve. And next up, a record I've shown before. This is just one of my favorites, and I wanted to show it again. There's a very, very slight cutout when I bought this. This was a batch of records that I bought at Tower Records. Actually, I think it was early 2003 when I bought these records, because I also picked up Elephant by the White Stripes. But here is STP, Stone Temple Pilots, Purple. This is an original. You know, speechless, what can I say? You know, on this record, Big Empty was the very first single. I remember when this record broke. I never thought I'd have it on vinyl. I didn't try to buy it back then. This is produced by Brendan O'Brien and Scott Weiland. You know, his real name is Scott Klein, and he's from San Jose. One of my favorite singers in all of rock music. And this is their second LP, and they really stepped it up on this one. I mean, you know, the first album is so fantastic, but here we go with the second album by Stone Temple Pilots. And I'm not, you know, I really treat this like it's nitroglycerin, because I've really spun this about 2 times, maybe 3, since I bought it in 03. And here we have on Atlantic the original pressing for STP. And, you know, they got in a little into a little country leanings, and they got a little psych on this too, and very bluesy in spots. So, man, that's a good one, huh? And at that buy in 2003 at our Tower Records store here in Reno, Nevada, I picked up 3 White Stripes titles, and here is White Blood Cells. And, you know, Jack and Meg White, I mean, this record was recorded in less than a week in Memphis, Tennessee. This guy, I think it's worth about $70 all day long. This is a near mint minus, easily in the shrink, as you can see. And this is the pressing from 2002 on V2 Records. Here's the back cover. And the inner, want to be really careful with this, is here. And very simply, I did put this in a polyline sleeve. I do, you know, they're my records. I like to keep everything original. And I know I could put the record on the back side of the jacket and all that, but here we go for the label of White Blood Cells from the 2002 pressing on V2 Records. And next up, a band from New York City. This is their 4th LP, and fronted by Paige Hamilton, lead guitarist, vocalist, and he's always been the one constant in, yes, Helmet. This is Aftertaste from 1997, hardcore metal, excellent band. I remember when I first heard them on Meantime, there was a track that reminded me a lot of Sabbath, but just heavier, and I loved it. This is on Interscope Epitaph, and this is easily, I'd say, a $70 record to $90 to $100 record. And this is the first press here. And Strap It On from 1990 was their debut record. And here is excuse me, an Aftertaste back cover. And minty liner notes. And simply on luscious black vinyl for Helmet, Aftertaste. And last one, I thought I would do just 9 records. 9's a number that I like a lot. And here's a record that I've shown before, but it's Vitalogy. It's Pearl Jam. And this is an original. This is from 1994. Couldn't believe this one when I picked it. Didn't pay much for it. All these records are not for sale. I'm a collector. I'm keeping them. I have a son. I'll figure out what to do in a year or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, whatever. But I'm really enjoying my collection. And on this record, this is their 3rd studio LP, and Pearl Jam really stretched out during this time. I mean, they were a lot less grungy. They got into a little bit of hardcore on this. And again, this is from 1994, and they recorded this and wrote it while they were touring their 2nd LP, Versus, which I love that album and I love the debut. But Vitalogy, I mean, the first 3 are just so epic. Pearl Jam, and here's the boys on the inner jacket. And check out the wax here. Really, really cool. Be very, very careful. Vitalogy. And lastly, the inner sleeve for this. Well, thanks for checking this out. And if you like this, I'll show more of some of my interesting and slightly pricey or pricey records. I'll see you on the next video.